in position. He gets the high side. Oh, and a disappointing run for Mr. Bull Slinger. Ron Olson from Barrington, Illinois, here again. Just like Wild Ride, driven by Don King, he got about halfway down the track, and then we could see that he started having problems getting bogged down in the mud, and he is right up to the floor plan in mud. A tough break for him. Pulling up now out onto the track is One Trick Pony, driven by Bob Berquist out of Fort Madison, Iowa. Here's the driver that's been involved in mud bogging for about 11 years, a real pro. And he's also calm, cool, collected, and he doesn't get real excited when he comes to the line. Well, the fast time so far in this class has been Craig Jones at 11.125 seconds, so that's the time to beat. Bob Berquist, Fort Madison, Iowa, he's on it. Made a slow start into the mud. He's still got a long way down the track, but he, like the last three guys, is going to finish about 3/4 the way down the track. Bob Berquist, Fort Madison, Iowa, One Trick Pony. Jim Bramford coming to the line from Kearney, Nebraska with the 1988 S10 Chevrolet Blazer. It's a carbureted small block. Jim Bramford, Kearney, Nebraska, the Chevrolet heartbeat of America, S10 Blazer. The time to beat, Craig Jones does 11.125 seconds. He brings that engine RPMs up, and he's off the line. Look at that, what a run for Jim Bramford out of Kearney, Nebraska. 17:33 heartbeat has made a spectacular run through the mud. They had trouble starting it earlier. He came to the line, was prepared, brought the RPMs up, and the crowd here at the Winnebago Fairgrounds loves it. Jim Bamford's time, 4.90 seconds, and he takes a commanding lead over second place Craig Jones. Remember, Jones, 11.125 seconds. So Jim Bamford now in the lead.
It's easy for you four-wheel and off-road fans to become part of one of America's fastest-growing motorsports series, the Four-Wheel and Off-Road Jamboree Nationals. Whether you're into mud bogging or off-road twisting, turning, bumping, and grinding, or just want to show off your hot 4x4, the Four-Wheel and Off-Road Jamboree National Series has it all. Be one of the thousands of off-roaders who have enjoyed our 3-day 4x4 party. Write to us at the Four-Wheel and Off-Road Jamboree Nationals, P.O. Box 726, Indianapolis, Indiana, or call us today at area code 317-236-6522. Join us and be a part of it.
The fans here in the Midwest are enjoying it very much. When we come back, we will go to mud racing on the dual mud pits in front of the grandstand right after this commercial message. Coming to the line now, Hard to Hold, driven by Keith Griffin out of El Dorado, Illinois, one of our long list of Illini drivers here. And now the big time to beat, 4.90 seconds, held by Jim Bramford out of Kearney, Nebraska with 7:33 heartbeat. He gets the go sign from the starter. Great run for him. The time for Keith Griffin, 5.75 seconds. So he now moves into second place behind Jim Bramford out of Kearney, Nebraska. Keith Griffin, 5.75 seconds with Hard to Hold. He hails from El Dorado, Illinois. In the staging area right now, it's the truck called Boggers, driven by Mike Camella out of Mentor, Ohio. That's the suburb just east of Cleveland, Ohio, on the southern shore of Lake Erie. The time to beat, 4.90 seconds. Jim Bramford in the lead. Mike Camella now coming to the starting line. Interesting, as we take a look at these trucks, everybody's got a little bit different design, different kind of body on them. One of the unique things to mud bogging. Here goes boggers. And it's a good run for boggers. Mike Camella out of Mentor, Ohio. He's in the mud fast. He's out fast. He did not have any problems, as we can see, coming down the track. And it's going to be a good time, and that's going to put him now in the top three. 6.15 seconds for Mike Camella out of Mentor, Ohio with bonkers. That puts him number 3 in the class. Cutting loose is the truck, the driver, Ted Kruger, out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, now in the staging area as he comes to the starting line. The time still to beat. Jim Brandford's 4.90 seconds with 17:33 heartbeat. A lot of trucks yet to go in the class. Ted Kruger bogged down about 3/4 the way down the track, where several of the other drivers have had problems here today. Dan Myers coming to the line out of LaPorte, Indiana, with Short and Sweet Chevrolet. As he rolls into the mud, the goo, here in front of the main grandstand at the Winnebago Fairgrounds, just west of Rockford, Illinois. The timing electronic timer is now on. We're ready to roll. Dan Myers. Electronic timer is now on. 5.50 seconds for Dan Myers out of LaPorte, Indiana, with Short and Sweet. That puts him number 2 right now. Here's Dirty Thrill, driven by Rudy Chazza and Greg Sabota out of Alburnett, Iowa. 4.90 seconds, the time to beat it. They've got engine problems as they stall it on the starting line. They restart, here they go. Oh, they are really in the mud. And the mud is up to the driver's door. You can barely see the tires. What a mess. Well, it's a dirty job, but somebody's got to do it. Just the look of the car looks fast, doesn't it? And this is going to be the Michigan off-road team driven by Mark Watrous of Lansing, Michigan. For you drag racing fans, this is Mark Oswald's old funny car body. They decided that it would be very good and good-looking in mud bogging competition. The time to beat is still 4.90 seconds. Jim Brandford in the lead from Kearney, Nebraska, with 17:33 Chevrolet heartbeat. This is a supercharged engine, the first one of the class here this afternoon. Oh, what a run! Spectacular, and it's going to be close for the lead. .53 seconds for Mark Watrous out of Lansing, Michigan, with the Michigan off-road team. That puts him number 3 in the class. Chicky's Toy, driven by David Chick out of Paris, Missouri. He's been competing for 11 years. The time still to beat, 4.90 seconds. As he brings the Chevrolet to the line, the electronic timer now, it'll start when he goes across. Here he comes. It looked like he had a problem with the visor on his helmet as he was coming down the track. He was hanging on with both hands to the steering wheel, then all of a sudden one hand would go up to his helmet, back down to the steering wheel, back up to the helmet. So evidently a problem with his visor on the helmet, and he bogs out about 3/4 the way down the track. Mudbuster up next, driven by Mark Green out of Waukegan, Illinois. Still the time to beat is our leader, Jim Brentford, out of Kearney, Nebraska, with 17:33 Chevrolet Heartbeat. In second place at 5.50 seconds, Short and Sweet, driven by Dan Myers out of LaPorte, Indiana. And number 3 right now is Mark Watrous out of Lansing, Michigan at 5.53 seconds. So here we go, Mudbuster, Mark Green, Waukegan, Illinois. Oh, it's a good one. What a run. A spectacular race through the mud.
5.41. Good run on the Mudbuster.
And the crowd loves it. That puts him number 2 right now. One to go in the class. The last driver, the big Chevrolet with that wide front end out there. Here comes Think Fast to the line, driven by Mike Jennings of Libertyville, Illinois. 4.90 seconds, still the time to beat. Mark Jennings had some problems coming off the line, and he got bogged down in the mud pretty quickly, and he was never able to get up on top of the mud and gain any speed. Jim Bamford out of Kearney, Nebraska, winning the heat here this afternoon at the General Tires 4-Wheel Drive and Off-Road Jamboree, and we'll be back with it right after this break. Nebraska wins it this afternoon with the truck called 1733 Heartbeat. And Jim, you've come a long way for this event, the General Tire 4-Wheel Drive and Off-Road Championship, and you got to feel mighty good winning it.
Yes, I do.
4.90 seconds. Did you ever feel you'd have that good a time here today?
Yes, I did.
Well, you were confident that you had a good shot of winning it. What was your strategy going into today's competition?
Well, setting the chassis so it'd get its best traction off the line.
We've seen it all here this weekend as Chevrolet, the heartbeat of America, has presented the General Tire 4-Wheel Drive and Off-Road Jamboree. Through the cold and the snow at the Winnebago Fairgrounds just west of Rockford, Illinois, it has not diminished the enthusiasm for the thousands of fans that have made their way here from all over the United States for the Spring Nationals. I hope you've enjoyed the competition. I'm Dave Grimm.
Litzau made his Hildreth host the Great Plains event on the Copenhagen Skoal Pulling Circuit. It's the granddaddy of Nebraska pull from the heartland of America, the Budweiser Pepsi Grand National Tractor Pull. Hildreth has the oldest permanent 2-track pulling facility in Nebraska. For the fans, that means 2 days of fun featuring 8 classes of pulling action. At Hildreth, you get more gear-shattering, fire-breathing truck and tractor thrills in one weekend than most fans get in a year. Every class of pulling machine is here, from the 7500 Super Stock to the 9200 Super Modified Pulling Rail. 4-wheel drive trucks, 2-wheel drive trucks, and the 9500 Super Stock. More pure horsepower than any single pulling event in the world. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
In Hildreth, Nebraska, the temperature over 100 degrees today, but tonight the power motorsports continue as the 6200 2-wheel drive class is set to take the stage. In this particular class, the In-Laws and the Outlaws, California Blast, LD Nations, Boot Hill Delivery, Simon Said, Floyd's Toy, Baby Blue Night, they're all here. In the NTPA Copenhagen Skoal Pulling Circuit are here in Hildreth, Nebraska for this year's Great Plains Grand National. And leading it off, Richard Weinholt of Wilson, Kansas. Rich's toy, it's a Chevy. And what's interesting about the 6200 2-wheel drive class, we've got 1934 Ford, everything from a 25 Model T to an 88 Corvette. The California Blast, we'll see that one a little bit later on. Richard Weinhold out of the Sunflower State, ready to kick it off right here. In the Chevy, Rich's toy, and he's off. The Chevy Artest Puller with a good run, challenging the 300 feet track here at Hildreth, Nebraska. Rich's toy. Backing up to the thumb right now. Jim Brockman, New Haven, Indiana. In a 1941 Dodge. It's the Kodiak. Jim Brockman, this is the first of 2 vehicles he's got here. And as I mentioned earlier, you'll see just about every type of make and model of vehicle in this